A very good morning to you and welcome to Signature Television this morning. I am Godwin Sunday. Well, this morning we'll be talking about leadership, Nigerian Young Leaders Advocacy Challenge, and looking at some of the challenge that young people in Nigeria are experiencing and going through. And joining me in this conversation is Daniel Black, who is the national head, Yali Network Nigeria. You're welcome to Signature Morning, Daniel
Thank you,
Black.
Godwin. Thank you, Godwin. With such a voice, I know I'm very much welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about first Yali. What does Yali stand for?
Okay, yeah. So YALI is Young African Leaders Initiative Network, and it's one of the programs under the major programs managed by the U.S. Mission. So, in 2011, the U.S. President Barack Obama developed a Young African Leaders Initiative program where he wanted to build African leaders across all the African continent. So YALI is present in all the African countries, and we have a tripartite program schedule where every year 56 young people are inducted into the fellowship, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, to go on a 6 weeks leadership course in the US. Right, so those set of people go on a 6 weeks leadership course in different universities, short courses in different universities in the US. We have the Regional Leadership Center that also does simulate something like that, but goes across African countries. So there's the West Africa RLC, there's the South Africa RLC. So they pick in young leaders, and then in each zone, as West, South, and East Africa, they get to go on leadership courses. And then we have a network. A network is more like the social impact arm, where all the people that have gone through the different leadership are now coming as a network, use that platform to carry out social impact in their communities, show their leadership potentials. And we have three tracks to guide these members. We have the entrepreneurship, we have the civic leadership, and we have the public management. So wherever you find yourself, either as an entrepreneur, as a social impact leader in the civic space, or in the public management space, be a government, a public servant, a civil servant, or whatever, you are given that platform to carry out impact, to show very good leadership qualities and all that. So yeah, so Yali Network, we come together as young people after going through series of trainings, through series of leadership fellowships, to make sure that we do exemplary leadership through social impact, through activities that will encourage others.
All right, that's amazing. But then, the leadership structure of Yali and also the selective process, to me, it seems as though it's been particular, probably based on the fact that you must be looking a bit handsome, or you must be looking a bit wealthy. Tell us what's the criteria for even.
Yeah, actually, it's people think. Yeah, some people have the mindset, and that has robbed so many young people of the opportunities to be part of the network. First and foremost, the RLC and the MWF, they are very, very non-partisan, non-judgmental. It only has age range, which, as according to the UN Convention, I think 30 being the highest you can for be between 18 and 30 years of age. That is the only major criteria that might disqualify someone. Other than that, it is your impact work. We target young people that have already started showing traits of leadership, that have already shown interest in leadership. So if you look through the application process, it's about the essays. You write the essays. That there is no way you go through writing all those essays that you do not show your true persona. Your true persona. Have you actually sacrificed? Have you actually volunteered to serve? Have you been showing those traits? You don't just wake up and say I'm a leader. You don't just wake up and say I want to serve. So to benefit from these advanced leadership courses, you have to be someone that has already been in the track. So it is irrespective of your financial status, your economic status, your tribe, or anything. It is very, very dependent on your track records of service, of leadership, of volunteering. So yes, every and anybody can be part of it, so far as you are in the volunteering and in the leadership space.
All right, so let's look at Yali in Nigeria, because I know you're the national head for Yali in Nigeria. A lot of structures within Yali as tend to play out in Yali. But then again, how does the national body of Yali able to coordinate other sub-regional bodies?
So like I said, Yali at the network level is a platform for social impact, for giving back to the community, and for also embodying exemplary leadership. We have Yali in all the 36 states, Yali network in all the 36 states. We call them state hubs. And in these state hubs, they get to meet, they get to design community impact projects, they get to design, we have what we call the Yali Learns and the Yali Serves. So these different state hubs design according to what is peculiar to their community. So at the national, we do not design projects and say everybody do it. No, we allow state hubs design their projects, carry out source for their partnerships, and then of course get support from the US missions, who are our mother body, and then carry out this project as is in their as is beneficial. Yeah, of course, we usually have one or two national projects. Like this year, we carried out the 1 million tree project, where it was a national project. But of course, climate change, it's a climate change and environmental sustainability which cuts across everywhere. It's not discriminating. All of us are facing the realities of climate change. So as a national body this year, we designed the project, and we were happy to see majority of the states. We had about almost 21 states actively participate. The essence of that project was to encourage 1 million young people to partake in climate action and environmental sustainability projects, because when we did our need analysis, we found out that so many young people in Nigeria think that climate change is elitist, it's not their business, it is for the big boys, it's for the diplomats and all of that. And so we found the need to take it to the grassroots. So we launched that project. We did a 30-day social media campaign. We also did poetry competition. We also did tree planting. We went to the communities. So one of the things we didn't do was buy trees for people. We went to the communities, spoke to them, sensitized them, encouraged them, and then we saw young people coming out, buying trees and planting in their communities. We did not say, let's go and plant on the road. Plant it within your church, within your mosque, within your house, within your hospital, where you can actually look at it, where you can actually care and nurture for that tree, because now you know the benefits of that tree. And yes, I want to say we saw monumental success. We did not reach our 1 million mark, however, but we were able to at least inspire over 10,000 young people across Nigeria. And we have a database that shows the number of trees that were planted, the location of trees that were planted, and of course those trees are, most of them, about 90% of them are thriving. So those are the few things we do. And yes, we also do a leadership academy every year, where we bring all our members, all our excos, and we get to continue to remind them, instill in them the rudiments of quality leadership, right? So at the national level, we are more like a steering body. Guys, this is what we are supposed to do. But at the state hub level, they have the autonomy to decide their projects, their impact projects, their capacity development projects, and whatever they deem fit is necessary for their community. Because at the Yali network, we have discovered that the problem of the youth in Sokoto is not necessarily the same problem that the youth in Akwa Ibom has, or the youth in Rivers State, or the youth in Taraba State. So we allow us do sector or geographical location specific impact projects. Yes, so basically, so that's how we run at the national. We have a national structure, we have state hubs, and then we just guide ourselves and ensure that we carry out projects, we carry out impact activities according to how it's more impactful.
All right, so does Yali at any point gives funds to young leaders probably to embark on certain projects?
So I'll answer that question as a no, as a full flat no. However, most times we have projects like at our national summit this year, we're able to carry out a business pitch competition. So those are isolated instances where we had a business pitch competition, and yeah, we had partnerships from HP Nigeria. HP Nigeria we were able to give out laptops to winners of the business pitch, 3 winners of the business pitch competition, and also cash prizes to that. So so there are isolated instances. There are projects designed to empower young people depending on the capacity or the community impact project they are doing. But on a flat basis, no, it's not like it's a regular, it's not a norm. We actually do not, more of our key focus is inspiring young people to be able to mobilize resources. So we train you, we help you, we partner with you to be able to look for resources. Like I said, the funds that were given this year at the National Summit was as a result of partnership mobilization from HP Nigeria. We had partnerships from the National Assembly, the House of Reps, where we had Honorable Clement Jumbo come in and partner with us for the National Summit. We also had partnerships from UNFPA, that's the United Nations Population Fund. They were able to assist us. So we are able to access these resources, right? We also help our members access these resources. There are a whole lot of grants out there, and we facilitate your accessing of these resources. So Yali Network does not give out funds. Rather, we facilitate the process of you accessing resources. And one thing we tell young people, it's not really about funds. There are places you go to, and there's a high likelihood of them giving you training materials. There are places you go to, there's a high likelihood of them giving you a space for you to do your training or your program. There's a place you go to and they say, oh, we don't have this, but we can maybe give you food, right? So we actually empower you with the knowledge on how to mobilize resources, be it funds, be it materials.
It's been approximately 8 years and still counting since Barack Obama left office and brought the yearly initiative and that of the Mandela Washington. It was popular then for Mandela Washington Fellowship. But then looking at all of these antecedents and the track record that we've been able to you said so far, how can one at this point be able to keep track of when a leader say, I have done this and I have done that? Are there records? Are there things that one can do a follow-up, track up on to be able to guarantee that what a leader said he has done, voluntary services or what have you, he has actually done it?
So first, let me just correct that. Yali as a program was set up in 2011,
okay.
And if my math is not wrong, that's about 14 years, 15 years now.
Okay, still counting.
Yes, I'm still counting. Yes,
yeah, still counting.
Yeah. So, but I want to understand your question. If it's at the Yali level, or in terms of accountability at the Yali level, or basically at every leadership level.
At every leadership level.
Yeah. So basically, that's one of the things we do, and that's one of the things we encourage. So if you hear the word network, Yali is a network. Yali is not just a group of individual members. We prefer to have members that are currently running projects, currently running organizations, right? Be it business, public management, or civic organizations. And we have members that are into accountability, public accountability. And yeah, so we empower them, we train them, and we also work with them to ensure that we can hold leaders at different levels accountable. So what are you trying to look at? Are you in the health sector, and are you trying to ensure that all the primary health centers that they say that government says they are doing, they've done? Then there are modalities, there are frameworks to ensure that you are able to do that legally, you're able to do that without looking confrontational. There are ways you can do that, and then you are seen to be looking for the good of the people, not as if you're trying to antagonize anybody. So yes, there are frameworks, there are databases, and one of the challenges Nigeria has had is absence of accurate data, right? But as we come up, we work on, in fact, we now have to do a backtracking, because most times when you want to start any accountability project, in some Western worlds, in some advanced worlds, you go on the line and you find all the information you need. But here in Nigeria, you have to actually take yourself down to the community, to this place where you watch whatever you want to hold accountable. Like, you want to know how many primary health centers, for example, are in Adamawa State. You do, I bet you my bottom dollar you can't find that anywhere. You have to go down to Adamawa State and probably get to count and get to ask, right? So we still have the challenges of data to be able to track most of the promises, most of the claims of leaders, right? And that is something that we encourage CSOs to work on, because that is their responsibility, that accountability framework. So if we can have more people going to research data analysis and data churning out, and then we can be able to have data that we will be able to use to hold accountable. For example, the budget of Nigeria has been passed, and we very few young people actually know the actual content of those budgets. We have constituency projects that are in those budgets. We have projects that have been assigned for youth. We have projects that have been assigned for agriculture. We have projects that have been assigned for different sectors. If you want to hold them accountable, you have to know these things. So we need people that will now break down these budgets. These budgets are made in very technical terms. Now, if we have people that will break down these budgets and now break them down into probably pictorial views, into what do they call them? Different levels of communication. Even break down the budget into Pidgin English, break it down into our different languages. You will have more young people able to hold them accountable, because by the time you carry out, okay, this is a breakdown of all the budgetary allocations for education. right? And then, in fact, you now go to the micro level. This is a breakdown of all the budgetary allocations for so local government. If I pick a local government and say I want to hold my chairman responsible, my local government, my governor, my House of Reps responsible, that is the first information I need. So young people need to start and start working with data. Don't just wake up, and that is what has always faulted, or that's what has always made the old people say we are not ready, because you go there and give baseless claims, baseless accusations, and most times the accusations you're giving, they actually have answers to those ones. But if you are done proper data, proper research, you will be able to do proper analysis. For example, there is a whole lot of ban. There's a whole lot of ban going on in terms of importation. How many young people know the nitty-gritty of those ban? You just hear that, oh, the duty of importing and clearing a vehicle is so high. Do you know what makes up that duty? If you go there and start saying, oh, no, our the customs, you're so expensive, what exactly are you trying to, what exactly have you compared it with the Western world? Have you compared it with other advanced economies to see if these things you're actually crying for, are they negative or are they positive? So to let me know, to answer your question, yes, there are rudiments, and Yali Network as an organization has been working hand in hand with different organizations that are in the accountability space to see how we can hold accountable our leaders in different levels, both government, religious, socio-economic, different levels of leaders, hold them accountable, because accountability is the key of democracy.
All right, absolutely correct. Accountability is the key of democracy. Let's talk about Yali. It has come of age, and Nigeria as a country also has come of age. Let's marry these two together. How will you assess the Yali in terms of impact to Nigeria as a country?
Yes, so Yali, currently we are doing a project where we want to bring together all the impact activities that young people under the framework of Yali have done, to also do like I've kept re-emphasizing data, and to do an analysis, a monitoring and evaluation, to understand if we are actually even making a mark. But yes, as with my 1 year tenure as national head, I have come across tremendous work that young people are doing. For example, in Rivers State, Yali Network, Rivers State, they came up with a legal aid project, and in the space of 1 year, they've been able to assist, first and foremost, one young girl. She very, very helpless and helpless young girl. She was I think she had a very issues that you just hear pedestrianly, right? She was owed salary. She stayed back from work. Her boss went and accosted her and was harassing her, and in a bid to protect herself, she injured the man. The man left and came back with police, and guess what, the girl was arrested, charged to court within a space of seconds, detained, and she was awaiting hearing. And just because of this little thing that you're hearing, she had already spent almost 3 or 4 months in jail awaiting hearing, because the boss had money and her people did not have money. She was just a young girl that was trying to survive, and the people in Yali Network, they don't know her. She's not even a Yali member. They did the legal aid project. They were able to go identify her case, and like, this is not a case where this young girl should be languishing here, right? And they were able to I'm happy today, I think after 2-3 months of a legal battle, they were able to set her freedom, because in actual sense there was no even case, there was no case to follow up and all that. So there's a whole lot of tremendous work being carried out. The 1 million tree project that we did as a national, I'm telling you, the states, young people came out, the excitement of it was when young people volunteered their resources to get trees. You were hearing young people say, oh, I know this man, we can go and meet this man and get trees. And by the time they knew the impact of planting more trees, of afforestation, reforestation, you saw the zeal. And I have been encouraged. If at any point I had lost hope in Nigerian young people, I think this 1 year has been a reawakening for me. So Yali, over the years, over 21 years as Mandela Washington, as RLC, and as a network, have contributed greatly to the advancement of young people. Different organizations that I might not want to mention their names. The electoral process with Yaga, where we did a not too young to run, Yali was part of the process, where we also joined to advocate for the not too young to run bill. We've been part of so many other processes that I think has also supported in the advancement of Nigeria. So if you marry them together, I think Yali has played a critical role, especially for young African leaders, and giving us the limelight, the ability. This year, sorry, I did not even mention, this year we were able to represent young Nigerians in United Nations in US at the United Nations General Assembly, where we presented a report called Not Too Young to, sorry, called Nigerian Youth What We Want, Youth Voices What We Want project, right? We did a national consultation. Young people came in and we discussed on the Pact of the Future. So the Pact of the Future is a new document that has been assented to by world leaders on the way forward in terms of development. And we said we cannot just sit down and wait for them to sign and say, this is what you should do. We have to contribute to it. So Yali Network, we were mobilized, we had the resources during the National Summit, we gathered, we had a General Assembly, young people, over 500 young people contributed to the process, and we distilled opinions of young people as to how do we move forward. And we were able to present that to different stakeholders of youth in the UN Youth Office in the US. We were able to present that, and different other stakeholders were able to present that. So that is the platform that Yali Network has given to young people. Prior to now, different things happen at the global space and we are not interested. We are not necessarily interested, but we do not even have the resources to participate, to contribute. But I say that Yali Network has come of age, and of now we are just not just doing local impact, we are now going to the global space and contributing to global conversation.
All right, so basically what you're saying right now is that the Yali has contributed enormously to youth development in
Quite
Nigeria.
enormously.
Okay, so let's take the conversation a bit to rural community. Let's assess it rural, because a lot of Yali conversations tend to spring forth from urban communities where they talk a lot about Yali. Most rural dwellers don't know what Yali stands for and what Yali represents. I might be wrong, but then take the conversation to rural. How will you assess Yali from the rural perspective right now?
Yes, so basically because of our framework, I'd say yes, most of our members make up 90, our members are made up of 90% urban dwellers, agreeable. But you see, one of the things that I have discovered is, in as much as there are urban dwellers that make up majority of our membership base, we also ensure that all our projects, most of our projects, 90% of our projects are community based. And because we've discovered the problems, we've discovered that most of the social development problems are community based, rural community based. This year alone, Yali Abuja, we went to Kongabonko community in Kubwa and did skill acquisition training for over 57 women. There were a whole lot more than that, but from the data we used, 57 women, and we were able to even support about 10 of them with some financial aid. We went to a community in Karu, where the secondary schools, and did a Paddy Girl project. We've gone around. We did a project with we partnered with iDreams World and did an Abuja digital entrepreneurship drive added. That project had over 3,000 young people going through our virtual digital training courses. So you will find out that, and now these people were selected from the 6 area councils of Abuja. So this is just Yali Abuja alone doing this within their geographical location. So yes, unfortunately, the development gap between the rural and urban area has caused or has contributed to why most of the people that are able to access to become members of Yali are mostly mostly urban dwellers, because of course you have to have access to internet, you have to be able to come out for meetings, you have to be able to be part of the activities which mostly happen in the city. But like I said, our projects, our interventions are all geared at community impact. So it's a balance.
All right, so let's take the conversation again to another dimension right now. A lot of Nigerian youth will say that Yali is more of an echo than a reality, in the sense that we have more idealistic leaders in Yali, but the practical dimension of some of what is being taught from whatever training, the trainings that they've gone for, Mandela Washington Fellowship, like you mentioned, the 6 weeks training, and traveled all over the world, that this training this training does not have a direct impact on the Nigerian youth upon their return. These is an allegation, but you are here, so enlighten us on this. How correct is this?
This is a very, 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 very incorrect assertion. And off the top of my head, I can mention a whole lot of young people that have come back from the Mandela Washington Fellowship, from the RLC, and have done very, very impactful work. Recently the young children that were accused of that were incarcerated by the Nigerian government, and where they were accused of treason about flagging Nigerian flag.
Yeah.
I need to let you know that Funke Adeoye, who is the founder of Hope Behind Bars, is a Yali Network member. She went to Mandela Washington, and she has used the springboard of Mandela Washington, of Yali, and she's also a very active Yali Network member. She used that to run her Hope Behind Bars and has gone ahead to do tremendous things. Hope Behind Bars was one of the legal agencies that were in the forefront of campaigning, advocating, and even supporting those children until they were able to be given their charges were dismissed and they were reintegrated back to the society. Does that sound idealistic to you? Hamzat Lawal, who is the founder of Code is Connected Development. They did something around beyond follow the money. They've been doing accountability at the local government level. That is a Yali Network member. He's a close associate of Yali, who has been part of the Yali programs all over the years. I can mention a whole lot. We have Ovo Ontarigo, who is running Ideal. Yes, Ideal. He's doing a whole lot. So if we want to list out the kind of impact that different organizations, so maybe this assertion may be because these people are like Hope Behind Bars. She did it as her organization and she did not write Yali, and of course that is our joy. Hello, you've been empowered, you've been trained, go out and do exploits. So people will now feel that, okay, because they do not hear she did not write Hope Behind Bars as a product of Yali,
Perhaps,
right?
Perhaps
I can assure you that there's a whole lot. Recently, there's Leader Network, someone in Irene Ubani, who is in the energy sector, doing a whole lot. Recently interviewed by CNN, and she's doing a whole lot in the energy sector, in the renewable sector. She is a member of Yali Network too. So we have, and these are people that I'm just mentioning that I know one-on-one. Meanwhile, in Yali, we have over 200,000 members, and these are different people at different spheres. Believe me, if you go to different states, most of the key youth actors are Yali members. Each time I go out, when we go on resource mobilizations, we're writing letters to organizations. I've written letter to a government parastatal, and when we got to have a courtesy visit with the head of the parastatal, I was like, Yali, I know Yali. I'm a member of Yali. In fact, let me say this on air. The current Minister of Youth, Comrade Ayodele, he's a Yali member. The day we had meeting with him, he was like, Yali, I used to be a Yali member. It's just that politics made me busy. He is a Yali member, and you see what he's doing. So I don't know how to answer you.
Daniel Black, we'll come back to this conversation. We'll go for a short break right now. When we come back, the conversation continues in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, this is still Signature Morning on Signature Television, and I am Godwin Sunday. We're still talking about Nigerian Young Leaders Advocacy Challenges, but we took the conversation first from Yali, which has been on the forefront of championing the cause for young people leadership in Nigeria, Africa, and across the world. And in this conversation, I am with Daniel Black, who is the national head of Yali Network Nigeria. So let's talk about, away from Yali as an organization, let's talk about the challenges of young Nigerians right now. Now, I know that you have been at the forefront of advocating for youth. What are some of those factors that you think have hindered the Nigerian youth from even coming out to uphold their right and speak up over certain issues, even when they know that they ought to speak?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'd say it's very, very obvious. The Nigerian youth have been hindered by economic factors. One of the things, if you tell a Nigerian youth come out and protest, or no, not in fact, let's not even go as far as protesting. Come out, let us sponsor a bill to the National Assembly.
All right.
Let's sponsor a bill to the National Assembly, complaining about one thing or the other. Most of the Nigerian youth, the first thing they will ask is, how does it affect the price of Gari in the market? Yes, or will it put food on my table? And so you see, poverty has been so weaponized in Nigeria, and you are not able to mobilize young people if you don't incentivize them. And the moment you incentivize them, that spoils the whole aim of advocacy, because it looks like they are doing this for this, not necessarily for the general good, not for the anticipated good. We are complaining of, let's say for example, NSAS, and then you're paying people to come out to protest. Are they, so those people protesting, are they coming out to make sure that SARS is ended, or are they coming out to get the money or the incentive you're giving them? So you get to find out that the economic situation of things has really, really crippled the ability of Nigerian youth to advocate for change, to also advocate, to also come out and get inclusion, right? Look at the accessibility to leadership positions, political first. It's very expensive. Young people, very, very little amount of young people can actually afford the whole process of getting to leadership positions. Beyond that, if you go out, if you leave political, go to the religious, you will now find out that it is more of a cult-like setting, where it is handed down from one person to the other through a networking, through a connection kind of arrangement. And you have to break through these forces to be able to. But so this is not me giving excuses for Nigerian youth, but like you asked, what are the challenges? And so Nigerian youth face a whole lot of economic challenges, face a whole lot of, and then we face an information challenge. I mentioned here that we have data issues. More young people do not take the time or do not have the resources to dig deep and get verifiable data that can help them launch into these spheres. Because beyond funding, there are informations that you can get, there are data that you can have access to, and you will get the resources you need to get, right? If you are able to know if there is an organization, if there is a support space for young people in government, for young people trying to go into government, of which of course they are, but if you do not know, you will not be able to access it, right? So there are these information gaps that young people are facing. There is this economic gap, and of course, one thing I keep saying in every forum I go to, sir, the trajectory has changed. Young people in Nigeria are trying to balance out. The world has moved. We are now looking at AI, we are now looking at digital, everywhere is technology, right? And then, but we still have a group or a sect in Nigeria that is still trying to drag people to do things the old-fashioned way. So you now find where they say young people are impatient. The world today is moving at a fast pace. It does not need patience, it needs direction. It does not need patience, it needs passion. It does not need patience, it needs information. We cannot live in an age where you click one button and it is loading, right? Where you submit a letter and you wait for the secretary to sign, and then this and then this and this. All we need is something where we write, we copy everybody, and then by tomorrow morning there's a response. People say that young people now, so that transformation is one of the challenges young people are facing. Because imagine in a court now, you take someone to court. The judicial process is so long. Very few young people have the patience and have the resources to follow up that process. They say, you cannot take laws into your hand, go to court. How long will you be able to follow up even a housing case with a landlord, or a case with someone that has oppressed you? Everybody. So we have that transformation challenge where we are supposed to do things with the way the world is going, but Nigeria, the peculiarities of Nigeria is dragging you back to the way it wants to be. And then we have the old people saying that the young people are not ready. Why are we not ready? Because we are not doing things the way they are doing things. So it will take a while before that gap, before that balance is able to. And I'm happy now. Godwin, 5 years ago, we did not have, in fact, government parastatals did not have Twitter pages, did not have social media handles. Today they do. Today every government parastatal has an essay and a PA on digital media. That is a step in the right direction. Yeah. So imagine children of 5-10 years ago, if you're pressing your phone, your parents say you're pressing, what are you doing? You're wasting away your life, you're pressing phone, right? But right now they are beginning to accept. You can now send emails to some government parastatals and they get to respond, while some others are still doing physical copies. So let me just stop at those three: economic challenges, information challenge, and then the World Transformation Challenge. Those are majorly the challenges that Nigerian youths are facing to be able to take up leadership positions and also call for advocacy.
I was hoping that you will even talk about the fact, probably the fact that there is a lot of structural gap in the system, because when you look at the Nigerian youth, again, it's as if there are different orientations between the upper class and the lower class, the urban communities and the rural community. There seems to be this class gap. So I didn't hear you talk about even that as a factor.
You see, yeah. So in my thoughts, this falls into both the transformation and the economic challenge. Right, the economic challenge talks about access to resources. You have the funds, you don't have the funds.
Okay.
Those staying up, those staying down, right? And then the transformation change. Because by the time you talk about structure, Sam, like I just told you here, the structure has changed. The way things are done have changed.
All right, let me not even keep you long on that
Okay.
conversation. Let's look at the timing for Nigerian youth when they want to advocate for their rights, the modalities that they go about it. Is this due to the fact that times have changed? That's why they take it by force. They advocate for their rights through peaceful demonstrations and unpeaceful demonstrations, allow themselves to be used. What could this be that the times have changed and this has necessitated this Nigerian youth to also toe this path?
So yes, I want to say that we have bought the line, you are the leaders of tomorrow, for so long, and we've now rediscovered.
So it's a lie?
It's a big lie. It's a big lie because
But you're a leader
of today, not of tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes.
All
You
right.
keep waking up today and they tell you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and they tell you tomorrow. You never. Tomorrow is a fluke. You never catch tomorrow. So you live for today. If not, you wait, and by the time you realize, you wake up that thing is a fluke, you are already old and you begin to think and act like them. So yes, I think times have changed. There is much more, and thank God to internet, thanks to the global world, the digitalized world, where the world now a global village. There is more access to information, which has made young people now know what is due them. We have young people that legitimately refuse. You don't just come and give us peanuts. You don't just come to the when it is politics time. If you look at the participation level in the last elections, you'll find out that we are not where we want to go, but definitely there is a shift, a paradigm shift in participation, in the awareness level of young people in the electoral process. So yes, I think we cannot sit anymore, and we've also come to see that leadership is not something that you are given. This is practicable everywhere. You have to wake up, and when we say take it, it may not necessarily be by force, but by deliberate, active and intensive and conscious, consistent steps. So you have to be deliberate, you have to be active, you have to be intensive, and you have to be consistent. It's not one step and you go and sleep and wait and say, I've told them, I've sent the letter. No, you have to be consistent. So what is happening in Nigeria is as a result of the consistent failure of the government to the people, and young people have risen and said, no, we cannot wait like our fathers, like our fathers did, and they were kept saying Nigeria will be better, Nigeria will be better. I recently watched a skit. It was a skit where a young man, for some reason, slept and woke up in 2010, and when he woke up, he did not know he was in 2010. And he went to eat in a restaurant. He got 2 wraps of a bag, got soup, got meat. Other people in the restaurant got. And when he was done eating, he now asked the woman, Madam, how much? And the woman said, 800 naira. And everybody in the place shouted, Jesus, 800, it's too expensive. And he was like, this food, as of current economy, this food should be 2.5. And then she's saying 800 and they are complaining. He now paid 800 and thought that maybe the woman doesn't know what's up. He left. He now went on to the filling station, and then he asked, how much is you people's own? He said 65 naira. Everybody was complaining, 65 naira, why fuel go cost like that? In this country, God forbid. Now so they wonder, if we reach 100 naira, we go burn this country, in that skit. And then he was like, 65 naira, you people are complaining. Do you know how much? And then he had to call somebody, sorry, which year is this? They said 2010. And he started begging others, but don't complain, no. Let it be like this. So,
Well,
so I think times have changed.
Well, interesting skit you watched there, and
Yes.
very nice narration. If you ask me, I never knew you could narrate like this. All right, so let's look at the leadership angle of this conversation. A lot of youths are complaining that the government is not doing enough, but even from the youth aspect, we hardly see young people contest local government election. We hardly see young people vie for councillorship election. Could this also be that the government is responsible for why young people do not clamor for leadership position even at the local levels?
This answer might not go with what you're probably thinking, but I don't know where you are. Are you in Nigeria? In my local government currently, all the councillors in my local government are young people.
That's your local government is one out of 774 local governments.
And I'm trying to let you know that this is something. This is a replicating factor everywhere.
Okay.
I have seen so many. I've come in contact with so many young people. Look at the statistics in the National Assembly, in the House of Reps, even in the State House of Assemblies. If you look at the statistics of young people, by virtue of Nigeria's definition of young people, which is less than 35, right?
Yes.
There is a change. And then I keep telling us young people, we cannot expect everything to happen overnight. The difference is clear. The number of young people in National Assembly, in House of Assembly, in corridors of power has increased. The people that used to be PAs and SAs, in as much as we want to feel that those are irrelevant, those are not too sensitive roles, but these are the people that actually determine. Most times they're the ones that sit down and write the letters and draft the policies that we finally see that these leaders are. We have more young people in power. So your question, sir, I think well, be it government or not, the times have come, awareness has increased, and more young people, and you will see that even the number of young people that have participated in government now will increase in the next electoral cycle. So I am very optimistic. I do not feel that young people are maligned. It's just maybe feel that it should be more. But I really want to give kudos to the Nigerian system, not the government now, to the Nigerian young people. We've seen more increased participation. In my local government, in my state, I can tell you that councillors, for example, majority, if 60-70% of all councillors in Akwa Ibom State are less than 35. In fact, I think at this juncture itself, they've said, okay, you people should take that one, right? So we are having chairmen, we are having House of Assembly members that are less than 35. I know we have not gotten to where we should go. I know we are not there. But I still think that we have gone a long way. And we should appreciate it. We should take a time to appreciate that. Wow, I can go into the National Assembly now, and as I'm walking through, I am seeing people that I can relate with. Guy, how far? How are you day? What's up? And they respond. And I am able to comfortably discuss why I came to see them. I have gone to see a senator before, and while we were talking, he called two of his aides, and he said that they are the best place to understand what I'm telling them. And at the end of that conversation, they were able to go back in-house, discuss, and come out with a resolution that went well, and I was impressed. So I would say young people, their interest, participation has increased. It will keep increasing, and I think that we're on the right trajectory.
You think we are on the right trajectory? Let's talk about the leadership structures of young people. We've consistently faulted the leadership style of the elderly as a young people, but then we've not seen that magnificent contribution of young people. It has not really affected the system positively to a very large extent. I might not be correct with this, but then how will you assess the young people's participation in leadership and Nigerians' development as it stands right now?
Yes, so I wouldn't say you're not correct.
I might not be correct.
No, I wouldn't say you're not correct. I wouldn't say you're not correct. If you want to assess by the number of young people that have been given opportunities in sensitive leadership roles, I would say we've not done magnificently well. I would say we've not necessarily done the magic one that we expect. Young people. The moment young people come into, things will change, right? So, yes. But I think that they are a representation of a very minute few. Young people make up more than 70% of Nigeria's population. If you want to count, you can use your fingers, or at least if you want to count the number of actual young people that have been given leadership positions, they are very, 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 very minute. And I would not want to do a hasty generalization where I say that their performance is an indication of the general performance if you give young people positions. They have not done fantastically well, because I would in my own limited knowledge say that they are working on foundations and on systems that are already faulty, right? And they are coming here, no matter your level of, except you are going on a full-blown coup, where you can give an order and everything changes. But if you must work in a democratic system, it has to be a gradual process. If you want to change one policy, you have to go through the National Assembly. You cannot just wake up and things change. In the ministry, you say the bureaucratic process is too long. You have to have a meeting. You have to have people sign off, and if in fact, if any of those processes you want to circumvent is a public service procedure, you have to go back to the Public Service Act, right? So there is a whole lot of process that needs to be done, and I don't think that the moment young people come in, that things will just change automatically. I am being very optimistic. So the more young people that come in, and for example, we now have a young person as the, in quote, head of civil service, and we now have a young person as minister for this and minister for that. I'm sure that if we now get to that level, which I say we're on the right trajectory, we are going there. If we now get to that level, I'm thinking we'll be able to sit on a seat and they will say, I think we need to start using Wi-Fi. We need the Nigerian Civil Public Service. Do we have a server where we can easily access data of Nigerian public servants or Nigerian civil servants? That conversation recently, Nigerian immigrations have launched an e-passport system where you can get your passports without stepping into the office. They've launched how you can do your biometrics, which sounded like a Herculean task, right? These are little indications that young people are in the system, despite the few that you may want to point out that have not done fantastically well. But I tell you, these are positive indications. We have Nigerian systems now that are, like I just mentioned, the e-passport system. I mentioned BVN, I mentioned Skumel. These are things, I'm mentioning these things because they have assisted young people in Nigeria. Prior to now, accessing funds outside Nigeria was a hard thing because they felt that every Nigerian is laundering money or something like that. But with the advent of a database, a Skumel database that is accessible online, some businesses, some foreign investors are more comfortable working with Nigerian youths and Nigerian young people. And these are indicators that we are heading somewhere.
All right, we are definitely heading somewhere. When else we begin to head out of the studio, but before we even call it a day, young people believe, a lot of young people trust in your person because you've always stood out for young people. And of course, talking to young people this morning wouldn't be a very bad idea. What recommendations will you be giving this morning to young people out there that are in leadership position and all want to advance their course, even as the Nigerian begin to enter the fast track, like you've rightly mentioned?
Yeah, my final words, I'll be using an agric analogy. I'm a farmer, like I told you today, and in my many years of farming, in my many years of agriculture, I have learned that seed time and harvest time is incontrovertible. So I want to tell young people, there is seed time and there is harvest time. You cannot plant today and harvest tomorrow. And you cannot just sit without planting. You have to plant. You will not harvest anything if you eat all your seed. So anyhow you want to understand this, wherever you are, have the discernment of what is seed and what is harvest. Make sure that when it is seed, you plant it. Be it knowledge, be it resources, whatever it is, be it in fact a position. There is a position you will have as a PA and you see it as a seed and you use that opportunity to plant all the changes you need to plant, and do not expect those changes to wake up. Even the least thing as maize takes 3 days to grow, to germinate, and then the most sustainable thing as a mango tree takes weeks to grow. Seed time, harvest time is incontrovertible. Let us imbibe that culture and we will be on a path to a very fast track to success and innovation.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning,
you,
Mr. Daniel Black. I want to say thank you so much.
It's been very engaging and I really, really love to be on your show.
All right, really engaging. Well, you can leave those comments coming in right now on our various social media platform. Interact with us on our social media platform, which is already displayed on the screen. Let us know what you think and some of the modalities you feel that the government can also do right now to further advance the cause of Nigerian youth. I am Godwin Sunday, and it's a pleasure doing this with you this morning. Till I come your way again, same time, same station. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. From all of us here in the studio, it's bye for now.